Hello, everyone. Am I?
Audible? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. It's an absolute pleasure, and I would thank Manjari for it. So, before we start, just a brief introduction about PETA. PETA India stands for People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, and it's a 25-year-old organization. We have our 25th anniversary in January 2025. It was founded in the year 2000 by the worldwide founder Ingrid Newkirk. And yeah, I mean, she founded PETA India when she received numerous complaints about how cows and buffaloes were treated for the beef and leather industry in India, and how they were transported in trucks in such large numbers that their bones used to break en route, and a lot of them used to die en route, and the ones that didn't were, of course, then slaughtered later. And we led an investigation, and that investigation led to the foundation of PETA India. And we go by a simple principle that animals are not ours to eat, wear, experiment on, use for entertainment, or abuse in any other way. So that's the simple principle. I would explain further on it, but before that, Pooja, would you want to say something?
That was a lovely introduction. I'll just start by saying what inspired me to be a part of PETA. And I would like to thank Manjari for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be a part of Pune Literary Festival. This is our second time at Pune Lit Fest. What really inspired me was back in 2005 is when I joined PETA India. I was always close to animals. I'm sure we've all had dogs and cats in the house, in our respective houses, and I always grew up in an army background. Surrounded by numerous animals. I always had a companion animal at home, and I felt very close to dogs, cats, and maybe we had chickens also in the farm, because you know how army people are. We already have a lot of exposure to a lot of animals. So I've always grown with animals. And in 2005, PETA offered me a wonderful platform to work for animals. And back then, I started out as the youth outreach coordinator. So I was young and I started their youth division. We called it PETA Dishum back then. Today we call it PETA Youth. And that was way back in 2005. I was there with PETA running the program. And gradually, when I became a little older, I transitioned and was made responsible for the young children, and we have this program for kids in the age group of 8 to 12 years, and that's called the Compassionate Citizen Program. And it's basically a toolkit for teachers to inspire kids to learn about animals in a fun yet educative way. We have a beautiful 23-minute video and some fun activities which we conduct through workshops, through teacher training programs. We try to inspire teachers and children to learn a little bit about animals, understand that they're living, feeling beings just like us, and then we hope that kids could do something actionable for animals in their own little way, which we'll discuss later. Dr. Kiran, I would want you to talk about your journey. You've been a vegan for so long. What inspired you to be a vegan, and how has your journey been so far, being a vegan and with PETA?
Thank you, Pooja. So it started off, I have been a lifelong vegetarian, by the way, and I have been an animal lover all along. Even when I was practicing in Mumbai as a physiotherapist and nutritionist, I used to do animal welfare work as a sidekick. That, that was uh, that was the only thing I used to enjoy the most in my free time. Um, and this was, I think, around 2016 Diwali, I had gone to my hometown. I am from a very small city called Raipur. It's in Chhattisgarh. And I had gone to my hometown, and being a small city, the sight of stray cattle is very normal. So it wasn't a surprise to me. But I was just going about my day, and one day I saw a really tiny calf, a calf of a size of a dog, extremely tiny, dehydrated, malnourished. I was shocked. And of course, I had to help the calf, and I made some calls. I connected with some local NGOs, and finally, I did connect with PETA. I had never thought I would work for PETA then, but I connected with PETA India, and they helped me with some more local contacts, and we could finally get the calf to a safe place. Although the vet told us that there were very slim chances of him surviving because he was so malnourished and dehydrated. Um, Later on, I called up PETA again to thank them for helping me out with the calf. And that's when the PETA representative on call told me about the dairy industry. And I was shocked because I used to claim myself to be an animal lover, and I had never thought the dairy industry could be responsible for such exploitation and cruelty that I learned from PETA. After that, I went back home. I looked up all the videos that I could on PETA India's website. There's a very good video called Horror of the Dairy Industry, Indian Dairy Industry, and I was shocked to uh, see that I was being a hypocrite all along by claiming to love animals but consuming dairy. And I learned that it's a typical practice in the dairy industry that male calves who cannot produce milk, and they now do not have any use in farming as well after so much of mechanization that we have in a country, they are typically abandoned on the roads to die, or they are sent to slaughterhouses to be killed for veal, which is a softer version of beef, and for leather. My soul was shook, to be honest, and I immediately decided that from this day onward, I'm never consuming dairy, and that was the day that I decided. And cut short, 3 years later, I saw this really good opportunity at PETA India. And I knew that this was my calling because I had always seen my passion in animal rights. And I applied, never thought that I would actually be working, or I just applied. I don't know, I don't even know why. I did not expect that I would probably bag the job, but I did. And honestly, it has been a wonderful journey since. I've learned a lot, not just about veganism, but also about how humans overall discriminate between animals and our own species, which is, in other words, called speciesism, where we very unjustly and arbitrarily draw some artificial boundaries, differentiating animals or othering animals from us. Whereas we are also animals. We are human animals, they are non-human animals. But we draw these arbitrary boundaries only based on our views, how we view those animals. For example, a pigeon is a bird, a peacock is a bird. But we value a peacock, but we don't value a pigeon. So it's basically just based on our views of those animals when we are all the same. The pigeon and the peacock is all the same, and human and a pigeon is all the same in the ways that matter. We are able to feel fear, pain, joy, loneliness, love, hunger, thirst, everything, all the emotional states that humans feel, animals feel. And that's why I feel that we need to introspect and understand what is causing this subjugation of animals and systemic exploitation. And I think it also dates back to what we have seen. So India has a colonial past
Lots
and
of conditioning.
lots
So
of
basically,
conditioning.
what Dr. Kiran, sorry to cut you over there, she's talking about years and years of conditioning and this belief that, we need to consume dairy, we need to have ghee, we need to have butter. This is years and years of conditioning. But what we are trying to tell people is that, uh, let's make a different choice, a choice that would respect all species as equal. So if you wouldn't hurt a dog or a cat, why hurt a chicken or a cow is what our appeal to you is. That if we can all treat animals and all species, including human species, in the same dimension. Let's not differentiate between species. So, our appeal is that no one is superior or inferior in any way. We are all the same. Just the way a human feels hurt and disrespect and feels lonely, similarly an animal in a circus feels lonely away from his jungle home. Say an elephant, imagine an elephant, a young baby elephant taken away from his mom at a tender age and is made to do acts of performances in a circus which are definitely not appropriate, that are totally not natural. They are made to do tricks under duress. So they are beaten, they are made to feel submissive, and they are made to do acts for years together. And then, it's like, and we call it entertainment. I don't think there is any form of entertainment because cruelty cannot be labeled as entertainment. There's nothing entertaining about being cruel to another living being. And it's very, very apparent that when I do workshops in schools, the kids understand that because they're inherently compassionate towards animals. They understand that, animals feel love, joy, and pain just like us. So we hope that, when we instill seeds of compassion at a young age, the kids will grow into compassionate and kind adults, which they already are. It was very inspiring in Pune Lit Fest to learn that, so many young kids are adopting a vegan lifestyle. They're not only talking about vegan eating, they're talking about wearing canvas shoes, not using leather, ditching plastic. They're talking about the environment that we adults have destroyed over years. But, we've left it for the young generation. We've left a lot for them to do. And it's really unfair on our part to expect them to do the mess that we've created. So I think it's upon each one of us to accept that responsibility and do something. And like they say that the change begins at home, and maybe Dr. Kiran can add more to that.
Yeah, so Pooja just spoke about the conditioning, and I just want to ask everyone, have you ever wondered why do we eat chicken eggs but not crow's eggs? So that's what the conditioning is. Why do we, and this conditioning is also inconsistent, to be honest. It's a cultural construct. Say, for example, in China, people eat dogs. But in US, people would be aghast at the thought of eating dogs. Whereas in US, people every day eat beef, cows, but in India, cows are, sacred. So this is a cultural construct which is very inconsistent, and so is speciesism. So, as I said, this conditioning is also a result of our internalized racism. For example, India has had a colonial past where we were subjugated, or our Indians were subjugated, and because of that subjugation, we have this internalized racism, which is the idea when the oppressed accepts the stereotypes or the ideas that are put forth by the one who is dominant. And this has led to not just speciesism, but all forms of isms. There are so many parallels that we can see, whether it is sexism, racism, casteism. These are all forms of discrimination which have come only by othering the one that is submissive. And this othering is only based on the view. For example, until late 1800s, women did not even have the right to vote because they were considered less rational than men. But that was convenient for the patriarchal society. Similarly, if you look at the history, genocides, Hitler killed Jews, millions of Jews, only because Hitler thought they are, an inferior race, or the Hitler's race, Aryans, were a superior race. There is practically no difference between humans. We are all Homo sapiens. So this entire idea of difference, this was all imaginary. And that's the same thing with animals and humans in the ways that matter. Today, ethologists tell us that human and animals have more resemblance than we ever thought.
Well,
Even genetically.
I'll add to what Dr. Kiran is saying. So when I do these workshops, there are very interesting analogies and examples that I share with children to show how similar we are to humans. When I say we, as in animals are, I always consider myself to be an animal only, so I always talk in third person perspective. So I give simple examples of animals like that, I tell a child, did you know that when a rat giggles, the giggle is similar to a human giggle, which is such a sweet fact. When there's when the mother hen is holding the baby chick in her womb, she comforts the chick by singing a lullaby. Isn't it very similar to what our moms do at home? They sing Lori to us to calm us down. So animals are so similar to humans in so many ways. There are various examples of octopuses and squids. They actually change colors to communicate with each other. That shows that, they're so intelligent, just like humans. And let's not forget, elephants never forget, a very, very powerful saying. You have a memory of an elephant, as they say. So elephants, they touch and feel the bones of their dead relatives to remember them. They actually shed tears when they lose their loved ones. Very similar to what we do when we lose our loved ones. So animals, time and again, have shown that they are similar to humans in so many ways. When we have so much to learn for animals, let's extend that, compassion and, apply that simple rule, which I call the golden rule for animals, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which means treat animals the way you would like to be treated.
Absolutely. And I think just to add to, how animals have different abilities, the mistake we do is that we compare animals in the terms of humanness and human intelligence, whereas there are so many things that animals can do which we can't. For example, whales, go vast distances in the ocean using, echolocation. Pigeons use Earth's electric magnetic field to travel, across cities. And for example, a gibbon may not know how to file taxes, but a gibbon knows which branch is strong enough to hop onto just by one look at it.
So she's talking about interesting facts. Another interesting fact is that, you have orangutans when it's raining. To protect themselves from the rain, they actually use the leaf in the jungle and they hold that as an umbrella. What a sweet thing to do. I think we would do that. So that's the umbrella for them. So animals actually use tools that are available to them, and ideally they should be in the jungle, and the tools that are available to them in the jungle are leaves. And when you have a monkey swinging, a group of monkeys swinging from one tree to another, now I'm sure that's a pretty sight. But that sight is not very pretty when the monkey is doing similar acts of performances in front of a Madari who's trying to make him do that act, which is completely not natural. They are also used in circuses, Dr. Kiran, monkeys. And let's not end there. What about experimentation? You talk about experimentation and what happens to monkeys.
Yes, and not just monkeys, even dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs, guinea pigs, rats, rabbits, monkeys, they all are experimented upon. And here I would want to talk about the concept of consent. So we all know how important consent is. We would never let anyone test anything on any human being without their, known
Consent.
no consent. And even if that thing is for the benefit of that human, there has to be an informed consent.
What about animal
But
consent?
there is no animal consent. And this is here also I would like to draw a parallel. I know that there was this Tuskegee syphilis experiment which had happened around 1900s on African American men. So they were all men with syphilis, and a batch of men were given placebos, just, and they were all poor African American men. They did not consented for this experimentation, and they were given placebo just so that the experimenters could observe the result of the disease, the end result of the disease. And similarly, animals today, they represent such uninformed individuals who have not consented. They have chemicals being put into their eyes. They have been, subjected to smoke from cigarettes to test the toxicity
We are
of
not
cigarettes.
even talking about slaughterhouses because that's really gruesome and we don't
Yeah.
want to bore you with details because everybody understands how cruel it is to have someone killed in front of another animal. I think that's the worst thing that you see death in the eye of an animal. I wouldn't want anybody to ever go to a slaughterhouse and experience that. We've had Peter doing investigations, and it's you cannot be there in that space. It's very very disturbing. So let's not go there, and maybe let's okay.
So I think I would want to add some positive aspects as well.
Yes, I
So,
wanted to change
yeah.
the narration and let's talk about positive things and what. Let's talk about positive things that Peter has been doing
Yeah, and
and
just
how we can
because-
inspire other people to do something
Absolutely.
positive. So you talk about what Peter is doing.
So, because we were talking about experimentation, I want to tell everyone that thanks to the efforts from PETA India, in India, cosmetics and personal care products are no longer tested on animals. It's illegal to test cosmetics on animals in India.
And that's huge. That's a
Huge
victory,
victory.
For all of us. And because we commemorate 25 years of PETA being in India, I think that's a huge victory that we bring, completing almost 20 years and entering our 25th anniversary.
Yes, and PETA India also has a database of beauty without bunnies companies, the companies that do not test on animals anywhere in the world. Say, for example, Unilever would not test their products for India, but if they are supplying to China, China requires testing of all cosmetics and personal care products on animals. So we have a list of 6,000 plus companies that are absolutely cruelty free, which you can check out on our website.
We have a compassionate citizen program
Yeah.
that's reached nearly 9.3 crore children and 2 lakh schools across India in a span of 24 years. And we also have a wonderful animatronic elephant, Ellie. And Ellie has been, she's a real lifelike animatronic elephant, 6 feet tall, 4.5 feet wide, as heavy as 500 kgs, a baby elephant, 12 years old, she's been given her, Dia Mirza has lent her voice to Ellie, and Ellie is going around talking to young children why it's important for elephants to be in their jungle homes and not be used for any form of performances, be it circuses, rides, or any cruel spectacles. And right now, Ellie is in Jaipur and she's touring schools in Jaipur. And we hope to get Ellie next year to a lot of cities. But next month, Ellie might be in Pune. So we'll be taking Ellie to a couple of schools in Pune. She's already visited a few schools in Pune when we got Ellie back in April. She was in Pune and we did a launch at St. Mary's School. And we reached out to about a couple of schools for 10 days. Ellie was in Pune. And we hope to get her back soon because Bombay Pune is not too much of a distance. So Ellie continues her journey to teach young children why they should not use animals in performances.
And just like Ellie, we have a mechanical elephant. So we are now working with temples, a lot of temples who use live elephants in temple ceremonies and performances and marches. And now those live elephants are being replaced by mechanical elephants, which PETA India has donated to a number of temples so far. And the mechanical elephant is such real looking, it's so beautiful, and it's life size. And now there are number of temples who have all the more number of temples that have shown interest, who would be giving up using live elephants and will be using mechanical elephants, and have requested us for donating them mechanical elephant.
So, Dr. Kiran, should we take some questions since we have very little time? So, anybody wants to ask us anything, feel free to ask us. We are here to help you and tell you a little bit about PETA. We've already told you so much and bored everybody. I'm sure that kid is gone off to sleep. He's like, why am I here?
It was really interesting to hear from both the SMEs, okay, subject matter experts. I'd like to understand, like you also referred to as cultural conditioning. So I also have a son, who's approximately 4 years old, and just the way I was brought up, the first thing that I do in the morning is like make him drink a glass of a milk, right? So I wanted to understand, like, you know, um, there are a lot of alternatives, as I understand, could be because that's where you're standing, right? So I would like to understand, right, what alternatives should I give to my son, which are easily available, okay? At the same time, they're equally nutritional, so that he's not deficit of calcium or other nutrients.
Thank you for your question, and we'll have Dr. Kiran answer that because she's an expert.
So, first of all, do you know humans are the only species that drink milk of another species, that too after infancy? So, no other species in nature, whether it's a lion, whether it's a zebra, any species drink milk after infancy, that too of another species. So, this is absolutely unnatural that we have been taught and we have been doing. Second thing is 75% of the world population, including Indians, 75% of Indians are actually lactose intolerant. So post infancy, we do not have the enzymes that are required to digest lactose properly, and hence a lot of us suffer through various digestive issues, and we are also have mastered ignoring them because digestive issues are just a regular thing for us, but they are not. Milk has been marketed by the dairy lobbies as the only thing that has most amount of calcium, which is again not true. So that's a marketing strategy that the dairy industry has used to ensure that every child starts her day with a glass of milk. But in reality, there are so many foods that are so rich in calcium, which were also culturally a part of a diet, but now they are not. For example, ragi, jawar. So the millets. Now people are realizing, and
Banana
even
is
the
full of
government,
calcium. Banana is a
banana
fruit.
has calcium, and No, I'm talking about ragi,
Yeah.
jawar, because culturally it has been part of a diet, especially in Maharashtra, because Maharashtra is an arid region and a lot of people culturally ate millets. But they were excluded from a diet with, everyone eating all sort of other superfoods, be it what is it, quinoa,
Quinoa.
and
Yeah,
all of those
quinoa. Now
things. But
it's like, we've got new forms.
new forms,
Quinoa,
oats, but we have forgotten our
that ragi nachni is what we've been having
yeah.
since centuries. Our dadis used to have nachni ki roti, ragi, jawar, bajra. We just calling it a different
And they
name,
are our
that's all.
very own superfoods. And
Yeah.
now even the government of India is promoting millets, and they have launched this initiative where millets are now a part of midday meals in India.
Absolutely. So
In all
imagine if the
states, yeah.
government is foreseeing that millet is an important part of a midday meal program which is given to a child who's extremely young and is at a formative years of brain development. So I'm sure they are thinking about it too.
So there is millets, of course, but other than that, every vegetable, every fruit has calcium, has proteins in varied amounts. So a well balanced vegan diet. When I say a well balanced vegan diet, it means that there could be no nakharas. Your child needs to have a well balance with all the sabzis and dal and chapati. So our Indian plate, a typical Indian plate, if you exclude dairy, is actually a very well balanced diet that can, you know, provide all the nutrition needed for a child as well as
An
a
adult
senior
also.
citizen. And in fact,
And your age also.
Your
See,
age
if you come
also.
to think of it, most of us have always been vegetarians. A huge amount of the Indian population has always been vegetarian,
and mostly vegan, in
yeah,
fact. Yeah, that
mostly
they
vegan.
used
If
to be
you
a very
see,
small part.
if you see, let's discuss
Yeah.
a little bit of the food. See the South Indian food; it's all vegan. They're not using dairy at all. Dosa.
And it's not just us. So Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the largest organization in the world on nutrition, they have said that a vegan diet, a well balanced vegan diet, is not just appropriate for all age groups, from children to adult to senior citizen to athletes, but is also beneficial in reducing the risk of various lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, heart disease,
Cancer.
obesity, certain type of cancers. Yes. So I hope I answered your
Yeah,
question.
yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
See,
Okay.
we need to understand that, maybe Dr. Kiran can add that doctors are now consciously talking about the fact that, if you're suffering from a lifestyle disease like cancer or diabetes, the first thing that they ask you to move off your plate is dairy, and they also ask you to move meat off your plate. These are two things that they'll naturally ask you because that will help in your healing process. Maybe Dr. Kiran can add more to that.
Yes. So a lot of people do not know that it's only animal products that have got cholesterol. None of the plant-based product, even if you take a glass of oil, oil doesn't have, if it is plant-based, if it is vegetable oil, it doesn't have cholesterol. So our body makes its own cholesterol as per its requirement. So we do not need to have any external source of cholesterol. And by adding animal products to a diet, we are actually taking in cholesterol from outside, from a diet. A vegan diet is cholesterol free, and a vegan diet is largely, free of saturated fats and trans fats. So, as I said, it's not just have a vegan meal for animals, but it's also good for your own health and even.
And please let me end on a sorry for cutting her again. Look at both of us, okay? You've been a vegan for how long?
7 years.
I've been a vegan for 17 years. I think we speak for ourselves. So if we can look this way, and I think we are reasonably fit, and so I think we are proof enough that a well balanced vegan diet is actually a healthy diet. And I think the truth speaks for itself. That's it. Any more
Hello.
questions?
Hello, my name is Arshad Dugad. I am a PETA member. we see that day by day slaughterhouses are increasing, and we take no actions. So what actions we can take to reduce the slaughterhouses or illegal slaughterhouses which are increasing? Everywhere we see slaughterhouses are increasing.
Thank you for your question. So yes, there are a lot of illegal slaughterhouses that are popping up. What you can do is you can report this to your municipal authority. They are responsible for licensing the slaughterhouses in the municipal area. So if you think there are illegal slaughterhouses, you can, and to be honest, it's all about the demand, and that's why we do these awareness sessions, and we tell people about the benefits of vegan diet, for our own health, for the environment, for the animals. And until we ensure that we are able to encourage people, we are able to motivate people to lead a healthy vegan lifestyle, which is also sustainable and cruelty free, we can't really do much about animals being killed in these slaughterhouses. They're being killed because someone
Is
wants
demanding for
is
it.
demanding
So
for
see,
it.
I'm an economics graduate, so it's a demand and supply. If you demand for something, it'll be supplied. So let's all reduce the demand consciously, and I'm sure the supply will also reduce. It's not going to happen overnight. We don't expect the whole world to turn vegetarian or vegan. That's not even a realistic expectation. But yes, if out of a population of billions or trillions or whatever the population is, a few of us can make compassionate choices for animals, I think we've reached somewhere. Don't you think, Dr. Kiran?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a question. So you talked about the elephants and their treatment in temples. I just saw one in Hampi.
Yeah.
And but he was seemed to have been treated really well as far as I could see. Like they were taking him out for a bath and then making sure he's fed. The only thing I saw which probably didn't add up is that he was trained to take money from devotees, and they were taking him out for a walk, and then he would bless the devotees. So what do you, I thought the temples kept their animals well.
No, so ma'am, that's a perspective. One, how do you think such a majestic animal is obeying the commands of a mahout? They are trained using weapons. So these are sharp weapons. There is no other way any human could control such a majestic, huge elephant. You
Have
must
you heard of the Ankus?
Yeah, so they use Ankush, and apart from the time when they are there for the spectacle for the public, they are usually tied up
They
with
kept in chains.
And
For hours together, they're kept in chains on hard concrete floor. Sometimes they end up even urinating over there, and it's extremely painful when years and years of being chained, they develop arthritis and joint pains. And so it might appear that the elephant is okay, but the elephant is silently not okay.
and I think the most important thing is the solitude. They never get to live their natural life. They never get to have families. They never get to roam vast distances of the jungles.
So it's basically being in a prison, you see. Years and years of confinement in a prison, and there's no recourse for the elephant. And how can you expect an animal who is away from his family, from everything that truly felt natural to him, away from his jungle, how can you expect the animal to be happy? I don't think an animal would be happy in a solitary confinement. And temples are acknowledging this fact, and they're actually working with PETA to bring about a transition, and we are helping in rehabilitating these elephants in various wildlife sanctuaries. And we're very blessed that it's the wheels are actually turning.
Yes.
Yeah, there was that movie, The Elephant Whisperers,
Whisperers, yes.
which was rehabilitating them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to ask has already been answered, but just a reconfirmation, since you mentioned dairy products, I think would that apply for even cheese and paneer as well? Even in small quantities, that should be avoided?
Yes, absolutely. Even
Okay.
for cheese, paneer, curd, ghee, butter, you name it, everything. One thing I can assure you, this is also something that a lot of people do not know. So you know that India is the third topmost beef exporting nation, And even the consumption of beef is really rampant in India. Where do you think this beef comes from? So we do not have a beef industry as such. We have never heard of a beef industry. So it's the dairy kettles that after, because they're impregnated every 1.5 year so that the milk continues to flow, they become dry at the age of 5 to 6 years, and that's it. That's when their life ends, because then they're of no use to the farmer. And if the farmer would have been a really ethical farmer and would keep all the old cows and the male calves, we wouldn't get milk at the rate of 60 rupees per liter. The
So
milk
there's something
price,
that they're doing wrong over there. They're
Yeah.
artificially impregnating them, and we have corporates who are milching, using machines to take out milk, and even giving oxytocin injections.
Yeah, oxytocin use is also very rampant in India. Oxytocin is a drug that induces pain equivalent to labor pain in cattle, but it increases the lactation, and that's why it's given almost regularly, illegally. It's a banned drug, but it's given in all dairies. So this we have investigated that its use even after the ban is rampant.
So the oxytocin enters the milk of the animal. So clearly the oxytocin is entering your
Yes.
body. So imagine, it's going to affect a human being.
No,
a
it is
child.
affecting.
Of
So the
course.
early menarche in girls is also because of the dairy consumption, which has increased considerably over the past. Yeah, I mean, as I said, we humans do not require milk
just other
after
alternatives, so almond
infancy,
milk,
but if you do want to have something for your tea or coffee,
Almond milk, cashew, oats,
yeah,
they're
there's
readily
soy.
available. Soya
Yeah.
is there.
You can also make it at home.
Yeah,
It's
you can make
really
it at
easy.
home. You can buy it. I mean, if you make it at home, it'll be a lot cheaper.
Cheaper, yeah.
And if you want to buy it, if you're willing to spend that money, you can. And it's a question of just 1 teaspoon of soya milk or almond milk which you're using, which is so healthy. Imagine almonds in a different form you're taking in your chai. You can't make it any healthier. Our favorite cup of tea with almond milk, I think, is the best way that I would like to start my day. What do you think, Dr. Kiran?
Absolutely. I mean, you would, of course, take some time to adjust to the taste, but you would love it.
And yogurt has probiotics. So what's an alternative to?
So we have vegan yogurts now, and you can make one at your house. So as I said, you purchase soy milk, you purchase,
And the same
almond milk.
process?
Almost same process. What we vegans do is we do not use the curd sample. Generally, you can set it with curd sample to start with if you are not a strict vegan. What we do is we use chilies, green chilies and the stems. And we just give milk a boil, and when the milk is warm, we put the chilies and we put it aside to set. And we get, there you go, you
How
get
do you
vegan
get it
curd.
from chilies? Where is the bacteria coming from? From the chilies?
Yes. The stems
That's
of
interesting. The
chilies.
stems of
The
the chilies.
stem?
We have
yes.
we set. Yeah, that's what we do.
This is the first time
Tomato.
I've heard of it. Oh boy.
Yeah, the recipes.
I think
over
this
on it.
session of
recipes-
1 hour just got made. This is the
Yeah.
first time
So
I've
the
heard of it.
recipes are very interesting, and you can actually go onto our website to learn some interesting recipes. They're there on Pita India. The YouTube page has wonderful recipes. You can follow a lot of vegan cooks also who share recipes. You can give some examples of vegan
This is vegan
recipes.
Richa. She's amazing. Like you'll get this
From
dahi recipe there.
So go back to YouTube and go back to Vegan Richa, and you'll get your recipes over there. And your tea will be very, very different, believe me.
Yeah, no, I can believe
And
that.
your curd also.
My yogurt, yeah.
Yogurt.
Probiotic.
Probiotic.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Dr. Kiran and Pooja.